Thank you so much for coming today. So what we're going to do is just ask questions to a few of our amazing panelists who have came and graciously offered to speak with everyone. So first, we want to shout out to our collaborator, Demon. Demon is Duke Entertainment Media and Arts Network and is Duke's hub for creative industries. You can stream and follow Demon. Their Instagram is Duke Demon. And you can also find 60 plus episodes of Demon Live anytime, including this episode on dukedemon.com. Also, you can listen to the audio wherever, and this is via podcasts. So with that, what we're going to do is just first introduce our panelists. So to all of our panelists, if you wouldn't mind just giving a quick introduction of your name, where you work, and what year you graduated from Duke.
I can go first. Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. My name is Natalie. I graduated from Duke in 2018. And I currently work at Google in our marketing org, which is self-explanatory because this is a marketing and tech panel. But I specifically work with our B2B segment, primarily with YouTube ads, and have done some side projects with B2C work as well. B2B being business to business. So I work with a lot of businesses with Google's ads business, and then B2C being business to consumer. So think of like any of Google's consumer products like Google Home, a lot of things that are done with YouTube, stuff like that.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Anya. I'm a marketing manager at Amazon Web Services on our public sector marketing team, and I graduated from Duke in 2019.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. I'm Brea Davenport. I graduated from Duke in 2012, and I currently work for Amazon on the AWS side as a program manager for IT comms. But prior to recently switching into this program manager role, my background has primarily been in consumer marketing and brand marketing. So all comms related, but it has definitely shifted since I've been working for about 10 years.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that. And Marielle couldn't make it, but she sends her best. And with that, we'll jump into some of the questions that we've prepared. So would you guys mind just telling us a little bit about your highlights at Duke and any experience that you had that really contributed to where you are today?
I can go. Oh, you can go ahead, Natalie.
Okay. Honestly, like one of my biggest highlights was Bo. Like Bo was such a huge part of my life. From like, I mean, I was in it from when I was a freshman, but became really involved as a sophomore. Continued to stay really involved as a junior, and was president my senior year. And it felt like a full-time job, but like in the best way possible. But like Bo in particular, like I feel like was more than any class or in some cases, like even any other internship, like best prepared me for work, like a full-time job. I think simply because, you know, I was like sourcing speakers, I had like an opportunity to learn like what's the best way to like phrase something, or what's the best way to like communicate with an exec on something. It gave me like public speaking experience. So it taught me how to work with people too. Like, I think there's just so many different aspects of Bo that really shaped my time at Duke. Definitely was a highlight for personal reasons too. Like I met some of my best friends through Bo and some of my best mentors. So very much in love with this organization.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. And we love Bo too. So thanks for coming back. And then I think Brea, you were going to say something.
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad Natalie went first because she reminded me of other things that were helpful. I definitely Bo was a big resource, considering that like there's like no business degree at Duke, but I knew I wanted to be involved in business, so that was a big help with exposure and learning. Also panel, so I was really actually happy to hear that Demon co-sponsored this, and I remember like the Demon panels back when I was in school. They were great for walking through like careers in the arts and in media, which I was really interested in back in the day. So excited that this is part of that. And then also I was part of this program, I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Focus. And one of the semesters involved courses themed around entrepreneurship and business. And we had like field trips to San Francisco and Silicon Valley, just lots of exposure through multiple types of in and out of class environments, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, I was also gonna say Bo, so not to like repeat over and over again, but that was definitely like that's how I found out I wanted to be in marketing, or honestly how I like found out what marketing was for the first time when I got to college, and a huge part of me continuing to do it. Like I found out about my current job because of a Bo event, so a huge fan of Bo in so many ways, and I think like a lot of the experiential stuff. I had a lot of on-campus jobs and like did marketing for the Career Center and sort of like absorbed a lot of what I heard from the career counselors and everything else about like the working world, what that looks like. I was a research assistant at Fuqua, which was really, really cool. And like consumer behavior is so important to marketing. So learned a lot about that. And I also my certificate. So I did the innovation entrepreneurship certificate, which was also half experiential in my credits. So you get to count like internships or projects towards that, which was awesome. So I got to do like my internship anyways, got class credit for it. And had some of the best professors who I like still talk to, still visit when I'm back on campus, who just really were like not only taught really well, but shared their life experiences and all of the crazy things they had done in their careers that kind of helped me figure out like there's not one path, there's not one thing I have to do. Clearly they were able to do 100 things and like make it work. So I would say those three were the biggest.
Awesome. Those are great answers, and we love to hear more. That Bo was very helpful. So thanks for that. So moving on to the next question, what made y'all decide you wanted to go into marketing? Were there any key things? I know, Anya, you just touched on it a little bit, but what made y'all decide marketing?
Yeah, I can pick that one up again. I get this question a lot when I talk to undergrads, and I don't think I like decided I wanted to go into marketing. I think like marketing decided for me because everything I enjoyed in college kept coming back to marketing. Like my job on campus at the Career Center, I literally just got it because I needed a job my freshman year and was like, oh, wait, I really like this and I'm good at this. And then like I was on the, I don't know if y'all still do a spring business conference, but I was on like the committee for that my sophomore year, and immediately got like drawn into the marketing side and the promotion side. And so at some point, I think like late sophomore year, I was like, everything I like doing keeps falling under this umbrella of marketing. So maybe this is what I need to do. Definitely didn't go in thinking that was going to be the case, came to Duke completely undecided. But really, I think it just sort of found me. And then once I started doing it, what I really liked about it was that there were so many, like it's almost like its own career field in itself of like different marketing jobs are completely different roles. And there's so many tasks you can learn and there's so many transferable skills. And as someone who's like deeply indecisive, that was great because I was like, every couple of years I can try something new and keep learning things within my field and not feel like I have to have one set of skills for the rest of my life.
Same for me too. I feel like I also stumbled into marketing. In undergrad, I think I was interested in digital communications and PR, anything involving like a campaign or an editorial, I gravitated towards. And then I also came back to Duke to go to business school. And once I was in like nothing but business classes, the marketing ones were definitely my favorite. So that also kind of through process of elimination was like, yep, that's where I'm meant to go. And then also I liked the balance of needing to use data to make good creative and consumer focused decisions. So I like doing things for people. I like the human element of marketing, and I like that you got to talk to all the fun designers and creative people, go on photo shoots, do video shoots if you're on like the ad side. But at the same time, I like that you were also plugged into the business side of things. You had to talk to finance, who gave you the projections, gave you the goals. So yeah, it satisfied both sides of my personality, and like needing analytics and data, but not necessarily being the one to calculate it, more so to receive it and then do something with it, and then work with the artsy people to create something beautiful and interesting, but also at the same time, not actually being the one to create it. So the person in the middle, guiding everyone along, that's just so my personality type. And also, I'm also very indecisive. And what's beautiful about marketing, like Anya said, is there are so many different types of marketing within the field of marketing. And also because lots of things are happening on like a campaign by campaign basis. Usually by the time I'm over something, it's time to do something else. So that also has been, why marketing has been a great fit for me and how I've stumbled into it.
Well, that's a great response, and it's so nice to hear that, such a unique perspective. So that's really cool.
I'm trying to think what I can add that's different than what Anya and Brea said. I think very similarly, like I very much stumbled into marketing, and I also very much stumbled into tech. I came to Duke as like a dance major, and I thought I was super interested in like the sports industry, and I still am very interested in the sports industry. I worked for the women's basketball team and was involved with a number of other athletic sports related initiatives when I was at Duke. I think initially I applied to Google similarly to Anya from a Bo event. I applied to their internship because a couple of folks came. And actually, when I applied for a sales role. And the reason I applied for a sales role is because one aspect of my work that I really like now is working with external like customers. And like, you know, always like having a pulse on what like the client thinks or what our customers think, whether that's from a B2B or a B2C perspective. And I really like that aspect, like partnership, sales. And I was actually placed into marketing. But what I very much realized was that like it is just so all encompassing. Like there are marketing partnerships roles, there are like pure brand roles, there are more analytical roles. Like there is really just a swath of things that fall under marketing, which makes it hard to describe like what I would do on a day-to-day basis, or like if you know, what a typical marketer, or even like someone who is specifically called like a product marketing manager, like that can range so much from company to company to org to org. And so I think just echoing what's already been said, it is like a really dynamic field to be in. And I think because it encompasses such a broad swath, like I don't know if I always want to stay in marketing, but because I've had like a more solid like partnerships experience through marketing, like I know that that could be a more specific route I want to go down in the future. So I think it's broad enough that it gives you a taste of a bit of everything, and can allow you to experiment a bit with what you like best, so that you can maybe specialize a bit more down the road.
That's great. And I think you and Anya were really touching on how diverse it is and how many opportunities there are. So just a quick follow-up to that, do you think that marketing and sales have a lot of overlap then?
So it depends. There's like this funny joke within Google, like it's like, who drives the revenue? Like, is it marketing or is it sales? I mean, which is obviously a lot of it is sales. But I would like to think that we make a lot of it come to life and make a lot of it scalable.
Make the job easier.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like I hate to say it's hard to say, but at a company like Google, or I imagine at Amazon, a sales role at Google may actually be like a marketing role at like a small company where someone is doing everything. Like they may be called a marketer, but they're also like, because they're working with external clients, they're also doing like very much a sales role. So yes, they do overlap a lot. I think that like the the nomenclature of like what's marketing and what's sales may differ from company to company for like various reasons, depending on size. But depending on the role, like especially in my role as a B2B role, I'm working with sales folks all the time. Like I may have a broader view of things because I'm working with lots of clients and they're like very like focused on one particular client and driving revenue with them. So it depends, but yes, I would say they can overlap significantly depending on the role.
Awesome, I can definitely see that. So another question I wanted to ask you guys is, how did your expectations of what a role in marketing looks like differ from reality? And feel free to take time to answer that.
I can start, but this might be a long-winded explanation because I have lots of opportunities to have my expectations subverted. So yeah, it's amazing how much it depends on the place. So for example, my very first marketing role outside of school was I had an internship with Disney Parks and Resorts, and it was for a marketing intern. But the level of work that I did was so comprehensive that I was able to speak to it in my interview for my current full-time job 5 years later. And it so depends on not even just the industry, but like the team that you're on and their expectations for the role, which maybe it was because I was like so new, I probably didn't even know. But I'd also like to think that even the description of the job wouldn't have even been able to tell me that, like, hey, you're going to have lots of exposure. Your reports are going to go to leadership. Therefore, you will be relied on heavily. Your connection to insights will help inform big campaigns that will last for years, et cetera, et cetera. Like, complete luck of the draw. Yet, at the same time, another one of the roles that I had, probably like 3 years after that, it very much aligned with my expectations, because I knew I wanted to be involved in brand. I knew that I wanted my day-to-day to involve shoots and things like that. So maybe it's because I was able to ask more questions. I was able to have things answered and to help align with my expectations. But then at the same time, I would still be shocked by like org changes. Reorgs completely change everything. Doesn't matter what your job descriptions say. If the complete business model, or not business model, but if like the business structure changes, your job's going to change too. So yeah, it's varied. But for the most part, I think what's been pretty consistent across every role is there almost always has to be a level of like communication excellence between you and your cross-functional partners in your team, and then also you and the communication, the campaigns, the materials you create that go out to customers, whether they're internal folks or external folks, and then also the ability to leverage data to make sure that what you create is relevant. That's been consistent across every job I've had. But for the most part, whether it's been what I expected or a surprise, kind of varied.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember what I expected before my job. I think I was just like happy I had a job, if I'm being honest, that had the title I wanted. But I feel like the biggest takeaway, and I don't know how universal this is, but like job descriptions feel more like suggestions, or kind of like starting places, where like when I applied for the internship at AWS, it was just like a general marketing thing. It didn't even say AWS on it. It was just like somewhere in Amazon, you're going to do marketing. And I was like, okay, cool. And as like a junior in college, Amazon for me was like shopping and Prime and whatever. And I get on my first interview and they're like, so what do you know about AWS? And I'm sitting there like on the phone, Googling like, what is AWS? So I can answer the question. So I truly didn't know what to expect at all. I definitely think like I enjoy some of that. Like when I came in on my first day in my full-time role, I had a different manager than I did during my internship. And she was like, honestly, we've never had anyone in this position before. We're kind of going to build it together, which was very scary at first, having never had a job before. But the amount of freedom that's given me has been amazing for my career. And I've just like raised my hand for a bunch of things that don't fit into what a normal I guess like marketing career would look like. But I like that. Like, I think marketing can actually be a really good springboard for other paths and other fields, or even within marketing. And so I think it's okay if you start and you don't really know what to expect, because I literally didn't even know what company I was applying to when I did it. And even during my internship, like, I had never used any of the tools we use on a day-to-day basis. I had never done those kinds of projects, worked at that level of like interacting with people and execs. You kind of just roll with the punches. And even in my full-time role, like, I'm 2.5 years in, and there's still, like, literally today I got off a call with my boss and she was like, what do you think of this project? And I was like, I've never done it, I'll give it a try. So, you know, I see people at like all levels of their careers doing that. And I think, like, regardless of what you expect, even if you do have a clear set of expectations, it's likely that that's going to change too.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that I went into my role. I very much had the expectation that I was going to be learning a lot, and that I probably wouldn't know like anything that was going to be like thrown at me at the beginning. And so I will say, like, it's not like I had these expectations of what the role would be and it didn't meet them. I think that one thing initially that I wasn't necessarily as prepared for, and I shouldn't necessarily have been, but it did shock me like how long it took me to learn, was just like our range of Google Ads products, because I'm a product marketing manager in Google Ads, and there are so many products, and like learning all of them, and trying to understand how they can work for small businesses, which is kind of the segment that I focus on. Was something that I didn't expect would take as long as it did. I still, in many ways, sometimes like will learn about a new product and I'm like, I need to go read about that or like do a training on it. So that was something I definitely didn't expect. I think not necessarily related to the role, but just like working full time in general. I think from the like outside looking in, you know, like it seems like things move so quickly, especially in tech. I don't think I quite expected how long sometimes it may take to get something done. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think there's reasons for it. Obviously, like a lot of the work that we do at both Amazon and Google, like can affect, especially when you're talking about like B2B and you're working with businesses, like can affect the livelihood of some people. So there is reason behind that, but I do think I was not expecting how long sometimes it can take to get something done. Echoing Brea, like the communication excellence sometimes that needs to happen like across teams from like the top down, still sometimes to me is like shocking and can like quite frankly be a bit frustrating. But again, that's where experiences like Bo like really came in handy, like just having some type of experience, like working with others, aligning across the board. I think was really helpful, but definitely wasn't something I was expecting, especially when you see like how quickly it seems like stuff is happening within tech. But there is a lot of thought and decision behind a number of choices that are made.
Awesome. Those are such great answers. Thank you so much for that. So moving on to our next question, I was wondering if you guys could just tell us a little bit more about what you majored in and if that helped you in your career right now, and then maybe if it didn't help you directly skill-wise, how it helped you in just your experiences so far.
So I studied psychology and computer science, majored in psych, minored in comp sci, and directly, I wouldn't say I use any of it on a day-to-day basis. But in some ways, like I was a research assistant at Fuqua in the psych area, and I use a lot of Qualtrics, and now I manage our market research for my team, which uses that tool. So it was funny because like I came in full-time and I was like, oh yeah, I know how to use Qualtrics. I can take over that project. And everyone was like, oh, at your previous role? And I was like, sort of, like, this is my first job, but yeah. And so things like that, I think like little tools or lessons, but I was talking to someone on my team today and we were joking that, you know, at least half of whether or not you like your job is whether or not you get along with your coworkers. I've been blessed with an amazing team for my first role out of school, and I love who I work with. And they like, it truly makes a world of difference. And I think part of getting along with people especially in the last year and a half when we've had new people join the team who I've never met in person, is like understanding dynamics, being able to pick up on like certain tones of voice, certain things people are saying, like how they respond, even in stuff like emails where that can be hard. I never like took a class on that or anything in psych, but I do feel like learning about human behavior helped me figure that out a little more. And it was already something I was interested in. So like when we do have, for example, we just had a giant event, our first one since COVID started, and I was able to be there on site, and I was helping with different projects in person, and we had like customers from all over within AWS, but also external customers who we were interacting with, and just being able to like put them at ease and create an environment that felt good for them, of like, you know, okay, I can see this person's really stressed. I can't say that's like, oh, my personality psychology class taught me that or anything, but I think just interacting with other psych students for my 4 years, like we all kind of speak the same language. And so I always advocate for it. I thought psychology was like the best possible major I could have picked for myself. Computer science, like even though I work at a tech company, almost never use, but I thought it was really cool in college, which is why I minored in it. But I mean, if you asked me to code now, I probably couldn't do anything without Stack Overflow, so no promises there.
Yeah, I remember when I was a freshman, I truly had a crisis over like what I was majoring in, because I came in as a dance major and I was like, oh, but like I don't know what I'm doing, and I was like, I feel like if I want to do anything in like the business realm, I need a major in econ, and I was like, but I hate econ, like I was so uninterested in it, and I always loved psychology. Like in my spare time, would read like social psych studies and articles. And I think on a personal note, like when I was dancing and so seriously in high school, I burned out. And that's really what kind of got me interested in psychology, just like understanding how we take care of ourselves and what mental well-being looks like. And so that's why I went into college and was like, I think I'd like psychology before I even thought about business and its applications potentially to like marketing or some of the things that Anya had mentioned. So I majored in psych, I minored in sociology, and did the MMS, or sorry, yeah, the MMS, no, you know what I mean, marketing management studies certificate. And I can't necessarily, like, I loved all of my classes. Like, I really wish I could go back and like take some psych classes again. Like so many of my seminars, like I think I just truly enjoyed them, which I think if you were going into marketing, for the most part, like my recommendation would just be like pick something that you enjoy and are genuinely interested in. The biggest thing that I guess from college that is still really applicable to my work today is in my specific role, and I think this has also kind of been put on me because I do it well. Like I do a lot of writing, and it will even just be for random side projects or something that my director will be like, "Can you please take a stab at this?" But I wrote a lot in a lot of my classes at Duke, and I really like became like a strong writer. And I think that was just from a lot of my like psych classes and then a number of the other classes that I just chose to take on my own. I just practiced that skill a lot, and it was something similarly to what Anya mentioned about Qualtrics. It was just something that kind of like was picked up as like, oh, you can do this well, like, well, we're gonna like kind of keep giving you things to do around writing. So that is probably the most transferable thing from my classes that I still hold on to.
So I also agonized over my major choice, and if I remember correctly, I picked my major late because I could not decide. But I became an English major. I did not minor or get certificates in anything else because I was so curious about so many things. Like I took all the classes and all the things. And probably what's most transferable from undergrad would be presentation skills, because especially in marketing, having to kind of create the presentation for like the campaigns that you're going to do or the results, that was probably one of the that was one of the most transferable things until I came to Amazon, which is a very doc writing heavy culture. And so now I'm using my English degree like crazy. But for the first like 6 years of my career, yeah, mainly the ability to talk in front of people, explain my point of view, summarize long, lengthy documents into like, this is the point leadership. And, you know, like your 3 hours of reading is 3 minutes of explaining, and that's it. Like that, like when you have to speak at a seminar after reading half of a book, like that type of skill, completely usable in the workplace. And then also just understanding, and this has nothing to do with like majors, but like the cool part about college is I'm a country girl from Georgia. So like I didn't know people that were that much different from me. So coming to a place like Duke where everyone was different absolutely prepared me for the companies that I was going to be at, which were also big global workplaces. So that's a nice transferable skill you'll get no matter what major you take.
Awesome, thank you. So moving on to the next question. This one's about imposter syndrome, and have you guys faced this working at your companies, and how would you say you dealt with it? And if you haven't, that's okay too.
Short answer, absolutely. I mean, even in this stage of my career, like, and it's weird how it pops up, you know. For example, I think the most recent is with like I recently switched teams within Amazon, and the way that feedback is delivered from the set of managers that I have, and then also going from the consumer side to the AWS side, it's just so different. And I'm receiving, I guess this team delivers more positive feedback than my last team. So I'm weirdly like, why are they telling me all these things? Like, so, you know, it doesn't go away. It just kind of morphs forms as you switch. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think imposter syndrome, like feeling like, why do I belong here? Like that's normal. It's only if we let that feeling of why do I belong here become a problem that it can really take over your life and mess with things. So long story short, I probably felt it going into every job I've ever gone into, but I think as long as your goal is to meet your expectation of what someone who's not an imposter and actually knows what the hell she's doing, as long as you're trying to do that and not letting your feeling of like, oh, I'm inadequate, hold you back, then it's fine. It's totally fine.
I love that response. That's so great. Thanks.
Yeah, like I literally every day still like it, at least for myself, it hasn't gone away. Like I think the way that I work through it has improved, but it manifests itself in so many different ways all the time. I think what I've found myself doing lately is like mentally, like when something goes well, I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't because of me. It was because of this person or because I partnered with this team and they drove it forward. But like I objectively was the one that did the work, right? And so it's like these little funny ways our mind plays with us. I think there's a few things, I guess, at least personally, that helped me. Someone once told me, like, if you are doing a bad job, someone will tell you. And that's true. Like when people don't do good work, like it ends up getting told to them. And so like I try to remind myself that, like, if I were not doing well in this moment, like I would have been told by now. So I think that's a good reminder. I think also just like as I've, you know, month through month as I go through my career, like I realize more and more that chances are like you probably, if you were in a meeting about something that you're leading or like is in your area, like you know the most in that room. Like there may be people that are higher than you, or who have been around for a longer amount of time, but like they probably don't know what they're talking about, quite frankly, like you do. And the amount of times I've been like, oh, you know, I think it's helpful sometimes to see like people higher than you or other folks that have been around for a long amount of time, seeing that they like too struggle to make decisions as well. You know, if you are questioning something or you don't know something, like chances are someone else also is the same way. So just remind yourself that. And then I think the last thing, I always tell myself, like, control your controllables. Like, if I am doing what I can and like all of my ducks are in a row, you know, like chances are I'm doing a good job. Like there shouldn't, you know, I may feel like stuff isn't going well, but objectively they probably are. So I more of try to like play mind games with myself and remind myself of these little things. But I think it's unrealistic, honestly, to think that it'll go away. Maybe for some superhumans it does, but at least for myself and like a lot of mentors, a lot of folks that have been around for a really long time at their companies, like I very much know that they feel it in a number of different ways as well.
I feel like I'm taking that advice. Like I'm gonna write that down later because that was all really good. And yeah, I mean, when you were like, have any of you experienced imposter syndrome? I was like, have I? Yeah. I think like from the moment I came back full time, there's an expectation, rightly so, like, oh, you're not an intern anymore, so now you know what you're doing. But it had been like a year since I'd been at Amazon. I felt like I had forgotten everything. And I was by far the least experienced person on my team. Like we were not a cohort of interns coming back. There were only a couple others. Everyone on my team had been in the industry for like, I think the least was 7 years and the most was like 20 to 30. And I was 21. So I was like, hold on a second. I was terrified. And like we were talking about, you know, it's not a problem unless you let it become a problem. Like I definitely did. I was just so stressed about sounding stupid, drawing attention to my age. It was already obvious, like in person. You know, like half the team knew that I was a returning intern because they'd met me, and the people who were hired after me could like look at me and like tell, or look me up on LinkedIn and see that I had graduated, you know, less than 6 months beforehand. And with some people, I did feel that it was like, oh, I'm being treated as less of an authority, or like my opinion matters less because of that. And I really internalized it. Luckily, the rest of my team did not do that. But one of my friends who also worked at the company said something to me that I still think about, that was like, we are not a place where like praise comes quickly. If you're not being told you're doing something bad, you're fine. Kind of like what was mentioned earlier of like, we don't celebrate the little things as much. It's just kind of part of the culture. We don't have the time. Like tech moves really quickly, and it's like if we celebrate one thing, chances are it's going to be like yesterday's news today. So when I started thinking about that, I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not getting like the constant like validation I think you get in school of like, here's your good grade or here's the good project or whatever. But no one's telling me I'm like awful at my job, so it's probably fine. And I think part of that came with like trusting that I worked with really smart people too. Like now I will say I've got like a much better handle on it in the last year or so. I just felt more settled into my role, into the company. People kind of started coming to me as the authority on certain subject matter areas. And that was really like helpful for me to realize like, oh, I am the expert on this. Like people who do have more experience or more knowledge on some things are coming to me. So that definitely helped build confidence. I think honestly, a lot of it just comes with time. And like, if you're lucky enough to have a team you can talk about it with. I guess not recently, but this year I had a change in managers. And when I was meeting with my new manager for the first time, we were talking about how does she prefer to manage? How do I like to receive, you know, feedback and things? And I said, look, I'm the kind of person where good, bad, ugly, like feedback every day. Every time we talk, just let me know, like, what's something I can do better? What's something that worked really well? She handled that super well. And so like on every single one of our one-on-ones, she'll be like, oh, here's something I think you could do, or I love the way you did that. That helped so much. So I think being able to communicate what you need, what your communication style is, how you prefer to receive feedback is important, especially on a team like mine where everyone who was like also answering to my manager had 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs before, probably didn't need the boost that I did coming into my role for the first time. And so I think like trusting that she wouldn't want to waste my time if I was doing a bad job. She would tell me the truth because that's also in her best interest. And then like I think also, as I've seen other people, kind of like what Natalie was saying, who are maybe more senior to me, have more experience than me, also take on things they don't know how to do. They just kind of roll with it. They go in and they say, okay, what can I learn? I just started doing that, of like, my boss will be like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I have no idea. Kind of like fake it till you make it. Like, you're not going to learn how to do it till you do it. So I think all of those really helped with the imposter syndrome. But I say that now 2.5 years into my team and my role. I'm sure that if like in my next job, I will start from scratch. So I think it just does come with time and experience and like that comfort of knowing how things work around you.
Wow, that is such great advice from all of you. I'm definitely gonna try to apply some of that to myself too, and I'm sure everyone else will. I love
Actually,
just
one
such
more
great.
thing
Yeah,
to add
please.
that I think would be really important. Another thing too, like another cure for imposter syndrome is to ask. Like if you were like, I feel like I'm not acting how I should be in this role, talk to your manager. It is your manager's job to make sure that you are performing at the levels that you need to be performing at. Like they are responsible for you to be doing the role that they hired you for. And also like hiring is a big old pain in the butt. So like it is in their best interest to make sure that you are doing well. And so if you're the type of person that like, you know, I love the analogy of like, you're not getting grades anymore, so you're not going to have that instant feedback loop. But I mean, it's something that you can casually mention in your one-on-ones or biweekly one-on-ones of like, how am I doing? Or if you're like, I want to know what I'm good at, you can check in with your manager on like, what is the best thing that you saw me do last week? Or like we're trying to get promoted or something like that. Or I guess this is imposter syndrome, so you wouldn't be asking about promotions. You'd be like, okay, how am I actually meeting expectations? Ask them to give you an example of like the best, how did I show up like someone in my role should be the most this week or this past month? And then from there, you can have evidence that helps you recognize like, oh, I am supposed to be here. Great. So anyway, asking, that's another way to get rid of imposter syndrome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for adding that on. That's definitely needed and it contributed to lots of things. So kind of switching gears a little bit more, I just wanted to hear you guys give some advice back to the Dukies and see what stuff would you guys have recommended to your past self to do during your undergrad? And like, what did you not do? What do you wish you did better, etc.?
So I had a feeling this may be asked. So I was trying to think about it like a bit earlier today. You know, like I think at the end of the day, I wish like I like just took better care of my well-being. Like there were certain points in college where I was like, how the heck did I do that? Like I have no idea. Like it's not, I'm not just talking about like extracurriculars and academics, but there's so much going on in college, like socially. And I like at a certain point, like something has to give. Like you cannot do it all. And like I think I realized that definitely more as I got older, like when I was a junior and a senior. But not everything can be in perfect balance. Like it's like you have your academics, you have your extracurriculars, you have your social life, and like you have your well-being. And your well-being bucket should never like be on the back burner. One or two of the other things can, you know, like they're not very important. They are, but like not as important as your well-being. And so I think like at a certain point, like don't be afraid to say no. You know, like you don't have to go to that event. Like you don't have to do this extracurricular. Like it's not going to impact anything. Like all of these like social events or like extracurriculars I said no to, and at the time I was stressed about it for whatever reason. Like I don't even remember any of them at this point. You know, they're not going to matter at the end of the day. So I think that just taking care of yourself is definitely something that I wish I would have done a better job at, and like truly investing my time in things that I wanted to invest it in, not just because I felt like I had to be everywhere all at once.
I think that's such great advice. Thank you. And I think mental health is a very important thing, especially during the pandemic. So it's great advice.
I'm really glad Natalie said that, because when you were like, oh, is there anything you wish you would have done? My answer was do less, like to my old self. And then I was like, I can't say that to like a Zoom room full of ambitious undergraduate women. Like, I can't tell them not to do all the things, but I have no clue who I was from 2015 to 2019 in terms of the superhuman ability to do God knows how many things I did. Like, when I think about it now, I am terrified of that person. I go to bed at like 10 o'clock now. I work one job. I like wake up in the morning and cook a nice little breakfast and like watch my TikToks, and it's a nice, like, normal life. Um, I was, anyone who knew me in undergrad knew I was deeply over involved, and I loved all the things I did. But like, when I think about what I'm proud of since graduating, I don't necessarily think about my career. Like, I love my job, but what I'm proud of is that I'm the mentally healthiest I've ever been in my entire life. And pushing myself the way I did at Duke helped me grow. It introduced me to some of the most amazing people I've ever met. There were so many good things about it, but the people who knew me also knew how like sad I was sometimes and how crappy I felt. I remember being like, with the context of Bo, I remember like sleeping through a Bo exec meeting because I literally had not slept, and then like panicking that I had like let them down and and I was like texting a million people like, I'm so sorry, and they're like, it's fine, you probably needed the sleep. And like Bo meetings were at like 2 p.m. on a Sunday, so this should give you some context that like I needed the sleep. And that's always what I tell undergrads when I talk to them now, is like, especially in your junior and senior year, when you have a little bit of room, if you have like a class you don't have to take to graduate, like maybe your senior year you can underload. I remember I overloaded every semester since I got to Duke. Like, I did focus, so that was already 4.5 credits. And then I knew I wanted to study abroad, and I had 3 things and whatever. I took 5 classes every semester minimum from freshman spring to senior fall, besides abroad. And I, again, love my classes, cannot recommend doing that. And so I remember sitting down with my advisor for senior spring and looking at the remaining credits I had. And she was like, you don't have to take 4 classes. Like, you will graduate if you take these 3 things. Like, you can chill. And so I was like, you know what? I want to take a kickboxing class. I had done it before. I loved it. And I was like, I did 3.5 credits. And I was like, is this what free time feels like? Like, even with 3.5 credits, I was like, this is what it's like to just be able to chill. So I recommend that the most. And like, I honestly think it is a transferable skill to do less, because when you get into the real world and you have a job, it's tiring. I like, that was the weird thing, is I would like finish a day in the office and be like, why am I so tired? I didn't even go to 8 club meetings and 4 classes and the gym and everything else. It's a lot of work, and you're on all day, even when you work from home. Being able to take care of yourself really influences how you show up, especially during the pandemic. Like, when we first transitioned and I was working all hours, my work quality declined hard. And so being able to, set boundaries, be able to say no, like things like Natalie talked about, my work got a lot better when I was able to focus on what I needed to and focus on my own health and my own happiness. So I definitely feel like at Duke, especially, there's that huge pressure to do every single thing, sign up for it all, be the president of everything. Like, you don't have to. And no one in the long term is going to care if you do or not, but you will.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what was said. The first thing I wrote down was learn to listen to yourself. I think the interesting part about going to college after, being with your people for the 18, 17 years you were with them, is it's like, ooh, I have autonomy. But then it's also like you don't have that internal muscle of like knowing how to listen to yourself. So you're heavily influenced by your professors, your peers, what you think, works out best for like the ideal career you want. And half the time they're all wrong. And it's not that they are wrong as in incorrect, but like wrong for you. So the more that you learn how to listen to yourself, the more you will make choices that will pay off, such as you will learn how to listen to your body more and take naps when you need them. Sometimes you will have years where you are overloading. Also, I did the exact same thing, Anya. I overloaded every semester except for one. It was dumb, but at the same time, I wanted to learn everything. So it kind of worked out, and it served its purpose. I was very tired and sad when I graduated, but I learned a lot. But I think that's the other thing too. If I would have learned to listen to myself, to be like, hey, self, maybe you can tone it down junior year. I think, whether you are in going hard or you want to take it back, as long as you're making like aligned decisions that like line up with what you want out of life right now, you're going to be fine. And then the other piece I have is people, like connect. I would have told myself to connect with more people, just to like make sure that like I caught up with folks that I hadn't seen in a semester or two more often. And then quite frankly, I wish I would have partied more. And I did a decent amount, but I could have done more. You don't have the access to that many people. I know it's panoramic right now, so like I don't know, go to virtual parties and do shots in your room, but like still do it. Highly recommend. It's not as easy when you get older.
I love that advice. Thank you so much. I love all of the things that you guys have said, and it's been so great. I just wanted to open the floor to anyone that has any questions for our panelists, and if not, I have two more questions that I could ask. And also, if you don't want to come off mute, feel free to ask a question in the chat, and that's okay too. Or not, because it's a late Tuesday night. And I probably won't either. So I'll just ask a question in the meantime. So Anya, this is actually directed at you. You said you went abroad. I just wanted to hear more about that because I'm planning on going abroad, and I know a lot of other people are too.
I mean, how much time do you have? Because I can do all separate. I loved abroad. It was probably one of the easily the top 3 things, if not one of the best things I did at Duke. Not that actually being at Duke is a bad thing, but I did Duke in Madrid. I had always wanted to go to Spain. Had been learning Spanish for a really long time. It was everything I could have asked for and more. We lived with a host family. I still talk to mine like they are the sweetest people on earth, and potentially lied to me about not speaking English for the betterment of my language skills. But I'm pretty sure I heard them talking in English sometimes. I don't know. There's something really wonderful about for me, and I think for a lot of people, sophomore slump hits really hard, and knowing that I could sort of unplug, try something new, get outside of what I had known for 2 years was the refreshing thing I needed halfway through my Duke career. I think about it now as some of my friends from abroad, we just had a 4-year friendiversary reunion, because we met during our abroad semester. And we were reminiscing on how there will probably never be a time in our lives again where we can live in another country, not have any major financial obligations, no job, very limited academic responsibilities because abroad classes are easier, ever again. I can travel now, but it's not for school, it's not education. I was taking cooking classes in Spain for class credit. It doesn't get better than that. And so I think it's an amazing opportunity. I know it's a really weird world we're living in right now, and I hope that's amazing to hear that they're doing abroad stuff. But yeah, if you get the opportunity to do it, just do it. Go in the fall. You won't miss basketball season. It's 100% worth it, and you meet really cool people. And as someone who grew up in a lot of different places, it was the first place where I ever actually felt this could be home, where the people were accommodating and just lovely. Pre-COVID, I was by 25, I'm going to live in Madrid for 2 years and work there and do all of this. Now, obviously, we'll see how I'm feeling in a year, but no, I think it's just an amazing opportunity to kind of open your eyes to something different. And if you're looking into marketing, having a global perspective is really, really important. So especially if you haven't traveled before and you get the opportunity to do an abroad experience, just do it. The classes will find their way. Maybe you won't have to overload every semester like I did, but you will, find a way to make it work. And I promise you it is so worth it.
Awesome. That is such good advice. I'm so excited to go abroad now in the classes. Hopefully they figure themselves out.
Also, if for whatever reason, semesters abroad don't work, try and get an internship abroad. My junior internship was in Seoul, South Korea, which was life-changing.
That is so cool. How did that happen?
Yeah, sometimes I stop and think about that because it's actually been 10 years this year. Kind of an accident. It just kind of the opportunity fell in my lap. I applied, and yeah, And coincidentally, it was also the same year that I studied abroad. So I spent like the first half of the year in Italy, and same deal, amazing. Like one of my classes was we would, learn about the art on Monday, and then on Thursdays actually go see it in person. One of my professors worked at the Vatican, so like we spent time like restoring art and cleaning art pieces and going into sections that like normal people don't get to go into. And so yeah, I agree. Like that educational piece, you'll have money to like go abroad later, but you're not gonna get like backstage access to the Vatican to like work on stuff as a real adult. And then same with being an intern abroad. Like you have all the fun of working abroad, but they're like, oh, the interns, and they're global. So like no one's ever gonna like coddle you in the same way, which was really frustrating 10 years ago. But because I was like, I can do things, I'm so smart. But like now I'm like, wow, what I would give to be coddled. So yeah, if semester opportunities don't work, feel free to look for something abroad as well.
Oh, that's
in the summer.
really good to know. And I was thinking about going abroad at some point, hopefully doing an internship. That'd be really cool. So I just wanted to thank you all. Thank you so much for coming into the panelists. You did such an amazing job, and all of the experiences that you've shared and the feedback and just everything has been so insightful. So thank you so much. And I want to respect everyone's time. So hopefully you can get off 2 minutes early. Have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having us back. Low-key very much miss Bo.
Oh, I love that.
So, yeah.
You guys did such a great job, and everyone loved your advice. So love
Thanks. Yeah, this is fun.
Thank you so much, Megan.
Cool. Awesome. Well,
yeah, thanks for the invite.
you guys did such an amazing job. I'm so happy with how that went. Thank you so much for coming.
Yay. Cool. And if there's follow-up questions, someone was super shy and is like, I have this question, like, feel free to email me.
Awesome.
I assume the ladies will also be willing to answer too.
Okay, perfect.
I got some LinkedIn requests.
No way.
So yeah, that's great.
I'm that person too. I always
Yeah.
request people.